Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 8th of January. Apparently, it's Elvis's and David Bowie's birth date. Starting off with the FTSE 100, and you can see that we backed off from the top of that channel there from back in February. Floor of the channel currently around 98.80, which we're hoping will come in as support as a worst case scenario. Ideally, we'd like to bounce or remain above the 10,000 level as much as possible over coming days. But we obviously had a great run, and maybe time for some people to take some alleged profits off the table. The resistance on the way up was around 99.70, so that could be a stopping off point. We already had a low of 99.95, so maybe that ties in. And obviously looking for a retest of 10,150 plus, but it was sometime later this month if we can hold on the right side of 10,000 or just below. DAX is next, and here there was some positive movement, in fact, even yesterday as well. And here seems as though we're heading towards the top of that rising trend channel from back in April, and looking for that while we're above the old October resistance, 24,700 at the top of the channel there, just shy of 26,000 now. Maybe that could be an end of January target for this market. 50 and 200-day lines both rising, and that hopefully will keep the momentum going at least above 24,700. The Dow is next, and here it was all fun and games earlier in the week, but we backed off from the top of that channel there. So obviously the point of having a channel is to try and get potential support, resistance, targets, etc. Yesterday we just missed that, so maybe the line is slightly high, but anyway, they were looking for top of the channel there, 49,700. A best case would be that red July resistance line projection heading for 50,000. Hoping that previous resistance, 48,800, will hold, and on an end of day close basis. Otherwise, we're looking at the 50-day line at 47.7. But hopefully, we stay on the right side of 48.8. Moving along to the cryptos, and there were some positive noises just to start the year. It seems to have gone away now. So we basically failed or had a slight bull trap through the December resistance for the start of January. We're still hoping that we'll stay above the 50-day line there at 89,000. Otherwise, it's down to the late 2024 uptrend line there at 85,800 or so, or let's call it 86,000. RSI still above the neutral 50 level, just. And the longer we can stay above that 50-day line, or we can stay above it, then the chance of a break of 94, 95, and then a move up to 106, maybe now by the end of next month, could be possible as a best case scenario target. But it has to be admitted that failure rather disappointing near 95,000. Ethereum is next, and as I keep saying, it has been a battle in terms of the 3,000 level. That is now where the 50-day moving average is, 30.17. At least while we're above that, looking for the 200-day moving average, 36.17, maybe by the end of this month as best case scenario target. Otherwise, it's the April uptrend line there. 29.40 is potential support for this market. On to gold, and here the picture is that we've, after the, I suppose, the rug pull in both directions, if that makes any sense. So we've settled in the middle of the range, so 44.29 at the moment. A rising trend channel there from the end of November. Floor of the channel there, 43.10. Above that, looking for top of the channel and that November 24 resistance line at 48.10. Obviously, that would just be retesting the brief spike highs. Worst case, we've got to test the 50-day line there at 42.02, and if you're not in the market, just looking for a potential entry point, maybe around 4,200 could be a limit order level zone. On to silver, which somebody's asked about, whether the big rally can continue. Previously, I was suggesting that we could get up to 85, which we haven't quite done, but that is the September resistance line projection, and we're looking for the upside here to continue while we're above the 70 level. So we're really sort of in a mid-range area, 70 to 85, or mid-expected range for the near term. Moving on to the stocks, starting off with Alba, and here we can see that the market, or the shares, are doing rather well, actually, from a technical perspective, in the sense that we are bouncing above a rising 200-day moving average, above that at 0.019, looking for 0.035 as soon as the end of this month. End of day close through that resistance line there from back in April is what we need. Might be a bit higher than I've drawn, so maybe that's actually where it is. So that is through 0.026. So we need to break that to get that 0.035. And obviously, as I speak, the shares have clicked down. A surprising winner at the moment, or something which looks like it'll be a winner, is Astrid Intelligence. Here you can see that we've had a decent bottoming out. Just need to break that resistance line there from back in September. Exactly where it is probably where I've drawn it now. So could argue we've actually already broken it just about at 0.12. About 0.12, looking for 0.17 by the end of this month, maybe more than that, given that we've had breakthrough a rising 50-day line, and we seem to have had a decent bear trap rebound from below October support there, 0.09. Cykel is next, and here you can see that making good attempts at a turnaround. We've broken out of that falling trend channel there at 33 pence. Above that, we're just basically looking for the old support on the way down at 81 pence, which obviously looks like it's a long way away, but that is our target for the end of next month. Quite excited about this one, especially with the bullish divergence that we had going into the beginning of December, or actually the end of December, really strictly speaking. So that is a plus, and then breaking out of the falling trend channel. The only thing now really is an end of day close above the 50-day line at 36 pence, but looks like we'll make that, and potentially up to 80 pence plus by the end of next month. CNS is next, which is Correro. Obviously, had not had a great time in the last year or two, but got the feeling it's back, especially with the shuffle just below a rising 50-day line, which is exciting. We also had a gap close buy signal back in November, which obviously I wasn't looking at the time, but rising trend channel base here potentially up to 13 pence by the end of the month, while we're above the floor of the channel and the 50-day moving average around 9.5 pence. But that rising 50-day line near the lows, pretty good signal, what tends to be a pretty good signal. On to World Chess, which is another potential turnaround. Seems obviously quite innocuous, but we've had multiple support points there towards the 0.5 zone, and looking for the shares to break that 50-day line at 0.85, maybe head up to 1.4 pence as a best case scenario by the end of next month. If you're cautious, you just wait for the shares to break back above that 50-day line whenever that happens. CleanTech has been one of the better performers already this year. So basically, we were looking for 10 pence. I think we've got 9.1 so far, which is not bad. But 10 pence the initial target, 14 now the upgraded second target. Looking for that perhaps as soon as the end of this month, while we remain on the right side of 8 pence for that stock. Moving on to one of the best stocks of the recent past, which has been MobilityOne. I think we've been through the roof so far this year, 3.5x in fact, so that's nice. Current situation, we're just trying to find support, and it looks like we've done it above 6 pence. If that remains the low, today's low remains the low in the near term, still looking for 14 pence by the end of this month, if there is any more gas in the tank there. Oxford Biodynamics is next, and obviously it's been through the wars with all its fundraisers, which are always at the last fundraise. Here you can see we've got a bit of a U-shaped turnaround, looking for the shares to close above the 50-day line, so maybe you can just stand back unless we get an end-of-day close through the 50-day line and above the RSI 50 level. Top of that broadening triangle there, heading for 0.39. We're looking for that as soon as the end of next month, while recent support around 0.22 holds on an end-of-day close basis. We had recent very good news from Proteome, and the shares trying to build on that. Slightly disappointing that we sort of failed in the 4 pence zone, but still looking for 5.5, while we remain above 3 pence in that broken resistance line from February. RSI 50 bounces, so maybe there's still a bit more to go here, even though, as I said, we failed in the 4 pence area, which is disappointing. Seed Innovations next, and here we're breaking the 50-day line. We bounced above a rising 200-day moving average, taking that as a leading indicator on the upside, which is already working. Above the 50-day line at 3 pence, looking for 5 pence as soon as the end of next month. Haven't had a run the shares for a few months now. Maybe it is time for a rally. Moving along to not to that stock, but looking to Truetide, and here you can see that the shares are in a broadening triangle base, or they appear to be. We've had bullish divergence going into the lows, which is interesting, and breaking above that 50-day line just around the 2 pence level, above 2, looking for 2.8 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. On to Tooru, which I think you just saw is in the investor webinar game at the moment. I can't remember exactly when it is, but I think it is maybe after the market closed today. You can look it up. Here you can see, though, that we've got a potential rising trend, well, actually a broadening triangle, but it looks like a rising trend channel base now, We bounced above a rising 50-day line after an outfill gap to the upside. So this looks strong, and it looks as though we'll finally get our 0.41 target line there from back in May, hopefully by the end of this month, while we're above the 50-day moving average at 0.25. Finishing off with another surprising winner, or one which looks like it'll be a winner, which is Volt. And here you can see that we've broken the top of that falling trend channel. That's one from September. Level there around 1.2 pence above that, looking for 1.6 pence. And the 200-day line by the end of this month. We gap through the 50-day line. We've got a sharply rising 50-day line. And we've had a sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day line, all the things we like. So hopefully 1.6 on the way while we're above the 1.1 to 1.2 pence area. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.